what do we know about the motor cortex? Our modern view of the motor cortex begins with John Hewlings Jackson. He hypothesized that the motor cortex was arranged in a particular order, and that was true for everybody. He developed his hypothesis by observing patients as they had seizures. He noticed that the way that the seizure evolved in a given person was systematic. It was predictable how the seizure would start and then move to affect different parts of the body. A common cause of seizures is epilepsy, which is a term that broadly describes a brain disorder that causes seizures. There are many different kinds of epilepsy, and there are many different kinds of seizures. Today, it is estimated that 1.2% of the U.S. population suffers from epilepsy. That would be about 3.4 million people, including 500,000 children. Epilepsy has many different causes, including stroke, brain tumor, often inside the hypothalamus, traumatic brain injury, and also infections of the central nervous system. Hewlings Jackson wrote about his observations of epileptic seizures in the late 1800s. It came to be known as Jackson's March, the observation that a seizure would start in one body part and then affect body parts in a particular order, marching across the body. But was it true that the different parts of the motor system in the brain were arranged in a particular order that could explain Jackson's March? The answer is yes. Who confirmed Hewlings Jackson's prediction? It was in fact Wilder Penfield, using electrical brain stimulation with patients about to go into brain surgery. He found that the motor cortex, the system involved for controlling movement, had a particular organization that was true for everyone. On the left you see a slice of the motor cortex, and you see the body parts layered on the outside. So underneath the particular body part, those are the brain regions that control that body part. It's important to note that it takes different amounts of brain tissue to control different body parts. So the face and the hands are controlled by larger amounts of the cortex than other body parts. In contrast, it takes relatively small amounts of cortex to control your ankles or your shoulders or your elbows or your knees. Why do you think that it might take so much brain power to control the hands and the face? Well, it's probably because of the intricate things we can do with our hands and our face. Think about all the muscles in the face that we use to make facial expressions to signal to others whether we are happy, sad, or angry. This takes a great deal of brain tissue to control. It's important to note that the motor cortex has a strip in the left hemisphere as well as the right hemisphere. And we've already learned about contralateral control. The right hemisphere of the brain controls the movement on the left side of the body, and vice versa. In the figure on the right, you see the sensory cortex, which is posterior to the motor cortex. The sensory cortex handles all the input from those body parts and involving sensations, feelings. It is also the case that the sensory cortex has the same organization as the motor cortex. That's all for now.